was there at the time. So I'm there for a few years and loving my life, going to NYU, going to concerts at night and, going to school in the morning and then MTV. And one of my friends who worked with me at MTV, her good friend was leaving to go to be a weatherman in some Idaho, maybe, I don't really remember. And he was having a going away party. So again, I was not looking for a job. I had my job. It was my dream job and I was thrilled. And still going to NYU and, just trying to graduate and then decide what I was going to do at MTV. And she says, "Oh, let's go to his going away party." This is like a Wednesday or something. And I had school in the morning the next day and I had work after that. I'm like, "Oh, Julie, we're going to have to go uptown to this." So we go uptown to this party and it's a fabulous party. I mean, it's fantastic. And this guy comes over to me and I'm like, "Okay, we're going to stay a few hours and we're out of here, maybe an hour." So he goes, "Hey, doll, would you like to come in and audition tomorrow for Barbara Walters?" Okay, I had pink hair because at that time, Todd Oldham was doing House of Style. And he did a whole thing of how you how the punk rockers used to dye their hair in the 70s. And they would use Kool-Aid. So my hair is very blonde and porous. You can only imagine back then. It wasn't even done professionally back then. I was doing it myself. So it was so white and so damaged. So they dyed my hair on House of Style because that's another thing MTV loved to do. They loved to just take a PA or take anybody who wasn't on camera because they didn't have to pay them, and then just use you as their model or use you to do some stuff.
Yeah.
It was super fun. It was like, it was really just very rogue and fun. So they dyed my hair pink and I see this guy and I think, is he nuts? I have hot pink hair in the middle of wintertime and we just had a snow blizzard in New York. Okay. So it was a giant blizzard. So the juxtaposition of the white snow against my pink hair was, I looked like Krusty the Clown. So I go, "Yeah, but I'm not sure she'd want to work with me. Why?" And he said, "Oh, we're doing this new show, A View from Here, blah, blah, blah." I'm like, "Sure, sure." Don't think anything of it. Continue to hang out, meet some people at the party. I say, "Okay, it's time for me to go. I got to be at school in the morning and at work tomorrow. Bye." I don't give him my phone number. Julie, my friend, who was also my roommate, stays. I go home, go to sleep. The next morning, I rush out of that house, late to school, no shower, like literally just brush my teeth, barely brush my hair, go to school, go to MTV. And Julie says to me, "He has been calling me all day. You have to get over there to ABC and meet Barbara Walters and Bill Getty." And I said, "I didn't even shower this morning. Are you crazy?" "You have to go over there. They're waiting for you. You told them you were going to go." I'm like, "Oh my gosh." So I'm like, "What?" Oh, and by the way, no time for the subway. So because we had access to the company cars because she would book all the cars for the celebrities. That was one of her jobs at MTV. She goes, "I'm just calling you a car. Get in the car and go up there." Okay. I go to the ABC building on the Upper West Side. Okay. Which
Yeah.
I mean, this is like the corporate building. I'm wearing a mini skirt. I have a bowling bag for a purse. My hair is pink and I have a baby tee on and boots to my knees. Mortified. I'm going up the escalator and people are looking at me like, "What? Who is that? Is this a singing telegram?" So I thought, well, you know what? I'm here. Just hold your head high, make the best of it. They're the ones who asked me to come here. It's not like I was asking them. So I go in, I sit down, and I start talking with Bill. Barbara was not in the meeting yet. I start talking with Bill. He's like, "What do you like? Blah, blah, blah," asking me questions. You know, you can't fail a test that's just about you. He's just asking me my background, where did I grow up, where do I go to school, why MTV, and then Barbara pokes her head in, and here I am with my bowling bag on my lap. "Hi there, very nice to meet you." "Oh, so nice to meet you, baby. I'm so happy you came." She called me baby from the time she met me. So anyway, she does a quick drive by. I'm thinking, this is fabulous. We have like just maybe a 5-minute conversation. I continue with Bill. I leave. I go back to MTV. And that was enough for me. I wanted to have a story where I said, wow, I met Barbara Walters and it was incredible. And what an icon, what a legend. This was the coolest thing. I thought that was going to be the end of it. That was it. He calls that afternoon and said, you were her favorite. She loves you. You're coming back in 2 weeks for a taped audition. I was like, what? Didn't have it. He goes, send over your headshot, send over your reel, send over your bio. I didn't have a headshot. I didn't have a reel. I didn't have a bio. I was at MTV and they would throw me on air every minute that they didn't have somebody there and somebody, then they didn't want to pay someone. So it's not had any of this stuff. So I go in the newsroom and I think, they asked me for all this stuff. What am I going to do? They sent me down to the studio. They take pictures of me. It's like the little MTV elves took pictures of me. They put me on the news, sat me next to Kurt Loder and said, read this. Here's your reel. I mean, they were, you could not imagine how amazing they were to me. And I thought, oh my gosh. Okay. So I sent all this stuff over. Oh, they wrote a bio for me. The news department like gathered around there. Let's write you a bio. I mean, if you saw my first bio, you would die. I mean, it starts like when I was in 7th grade. I remember going back to change the bio and I said, who wrote this? And then I started laughing and remembered, oh, it was my friends at MTV. Okay. So, so I go back, we go to the audition, which is at St. Regis, I think it was the St. Regis. And, or maybe it was the Essex House. It might've been the Essex House. I don't know. It was one of those big hotels on the park. I can't remember. So we go in and, well, I walk in and I'm at this point, a mess, a disaster. I'm thinking I have gotten in way over my head. I'm taking this a little too far. What in the world am I thinking that Bar Walters wants to do a network show with me? I've been on MTV a handful of times and I'm going to suddenly be on this, and I'm a journalism student at NYU. I still haven't even graduated. Why am I here? You know, all the things that play in your head, like I'm not good at it, I'm crazy, I'm fraud, oh my gosh, I'm a kid. So I walk through the door and I see a sea, just a huge room of famous people, except for me, which made me even more nervous and even more insecure. And they all know each other and they're talking and they're laughing. And I'm just this girl that's 21 years old at the corner, you know, afraid of my own shadow at that point. And I realized, you know what, I'm just going to go. This is enough. I'm just going to go. I've taken it this far. I'm good. I don't need any of this. I want to work at MTV anyway, because that's the best place on the planet in my mind, in my 21-year-old mind. I've been there now 4 years and I love them. They love me. I'm going to stay there. So I turn around to walk out. It was a big, like they'd rented like the penthouse or something. And there were separate rooms. They were doing makeup in one room and there was like the holding room in the other room. So I turn around and I walk through the, like kind of the hallway and open the door to walk out. And these 2 giant doors. And Barbara is standing there when I open the door. And I'm like, oh, hi. And she says, oh, baby, I'm so glad you came. She puts her hand on my shoulder and leads me back into the room and now addresses this entire room of people standing beside me with her hand on my shoulder. And I'm like a deer in headlights because now I'm thinking, oh boy, I can't, number one, I can't leave now. You know, that was my exit, but she happened to be there. I mean, if that was not some sort of weird cosmic fate, if I was a minute earlier or she was a minute later, it would have never happened.
You really would have laughed.
I would have, oh no, I was leaving. There was no way I was staying there. I was so in over my head and so afraid. And when I saw all those people, because before, you know, yeah, I got this. And then when you walk in, it's like a record scratches and you go, oh boy, okay. You know everyone's name in this room. Nobody knows your name. You need to go home. It's enough. I need to just leave. So I was very comfortable with leaving. I would not have stayed. So anyway, she leaves, we sit down, we do these auditions, and they switch people in and out all day. And that first group that sat down, the first group of those 750 people that day, because they had, I think they had 3 or 4 days of auditions, but 750 people that day, that first group was the group that made it on the show. Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
The original group that you saw.
Who else did you see? Like, did you only speak with them and audition with them, or were these other famous people? Like, were you